I reconnected with an old friend after many years. She had been single for over 15 years and believed she was too old for love. But just a few months later, her perspective completely shifted. So, what happened? My friend's story is about to shatter every assumption you have about dating after 60. She uncovered something that society desperately wants to keep hidden from you. Hi, I'm Vernon. What I'm about to share with you are 5 surprising truths about senior dating that will completely change how you think about love at this stage of life. These truths aren't just theoretical. They're practical insights that can transform your approach to finding love later in life. Whether you're single and unsure about pursuing romance, or already dating but facing age-related doubts, these insights will give you the perspective and confidence you need. Support me by subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss another video. This way, you'll stay updated with insights that can transform your view on love and relationships. Let's dive into the first surprising truth about dating after 60 that will change how you view love in your later years.
Truth number 1. The attraction paradigm shift. When we think of attraction, many of us still hold on to the idea that it's all about physical appearance, youth, or external factors. But the truth is, as we age, our understanding of attraction undergoes a profound shift. After 60, the connection we seek goes beyond looks. It becomes about emotional depth, shared experiences, and intellectual chemistry. The attraction paradigm shifts from focusing on appearances to valuing character, wisdom, and mutual respect. At this stage, qualities like kindness, humor, empathy, and emotional stability become more desirable, with people drawn to the inner traits that foster lasting bonds. This shift in attraction isn't just a matter of physical change, but of emotional and mental growth. As we age, we learn to prioritize what truly sustains us in relationships, and that's what drives attraction in a whole new, beautiful way. Let me share something that might surprise you about my sister, Dorothy, who's 68. Last year, she told me about a date she'd gone on with a man named Richard. "Vernon," she said, "I looked at him across the dinner table. This 71-year-old man with gray hair, laugh lines, and reading glasses, and I thought he was the most attractive man I'd ever seen, not despite his age, but because of it." Aristotle wrote about different types of beauty: physical beauty, which fades, and character beauty, which grows stronger with time. Dorothy's attraction to Richard wasn't about denying his age. It was about recognizing that he had become more attractive, not less, through the process of living fully. Think about what makes someone attractive at 65 versus 25. The 25-year-old might have perfect skin, but the 65-year-old has presence. The 25-year-old might have endless energy, but the 65-year-old has learned how to use energy wisely. The 25-year-old might have potential, but the 65-year-old has become. Dorothy's story illustrates this beautifully. She and Richard connected over shared experiences of raising children, building careers, surviving losses, and finding meaning. Their attraction was based on recognition, the recognition that this was someone who had lived, learned, and grown in ways that made them not just attractive, but genuinely fascinating. So, how can you embrace this shift in attraction? Shift your focus to emotional connection. Instead of prioritizing physical appearance, start valuing emotional depth and shared experiences. True attraction comes from understanding and connecting on a deeper level. Appreciate inner qualities. As you age, focus more on qualities like kindness, empathy, and humor. Recognize that physical attraction fades, but character and mutual respect become more desirable as we get older. Embrace the beauty of lived experience. Recognize that attraction isn't just about potential anymore, but about who someone has become through the journey of life. When you're watching this and recognizing these truths in your own experience, take a moment to comment below about what surprised you the most. Understanding this paradigm shift is just the beginning of discovering your advantages in senior dating. Together, we'll slowly explore the next truths.
Truth number 2, the vulnerability advantage. Something remarkable happened to my friend Elena when she turned 67. Do you remember at the beginning of the video when I mentioned the love story after 60 that changed her perspective? She had always felt insecure because for nearly 15 years after her divorce from her first husband, she couldn't find a new partner. By the time she turned 60, she had completely given up on finding love and chose to live alone. That was until she met a man who made her fall deeply in love, and through him, she found the belief in love once again. This connects directly to what we just discussed about attraction after 60, but goes deeper into our second surprising truth. The vulnerability that comes with age and life experience isn't a weakness in dating. It's your greatest strength for creating authentic connection. Here's what's fascinating about this truth and how it builds on our first insight. Remember how attraction after 60 is based on authenticity rather than performance? Well, vulnerability is the pathway to that authenticity. When you're young, you try to present a perfect image. When you're older, you've learned that perfection is not only impossible, but actually repels the kind of deep connection you're seeking. Brené Brown's research on vulnerability confirms what Elena discovered through experience. People who can share their struggles, acknowledge their limitations, and be honest about their fears create deeper connections than those who maintain a facade of strength. And here's the beautiful paradox. It takes real strength to be vulnerable, strength that usually only comes with age and experience. On her third date with Will, Elena shared something she'd never told anyone before, that she was terrified of becoming a burden as she aged, that she sometimes felt invisible in a youth-obsessed culture, and that she worried about running out of time to find real love. Instead of being repelled, Will completely won Elena over with his kindness and gentleness. Their love wasn't like the passionate waves of a 25-year-old, but calm and deep at the age of 65. This vulnerability advantage extends beyond just emotional connection. It also eliminates the exhausting performance pressure that makes younger dating so stressful. When you're dating in your 60s, you don't have to pretend to be someone you're not. You can be honest about your limitations, clear about your needs, and authentic about your desires. Elena told me she didn't have to pretend to be energetic when she was tired, or social when she wanted quiet time, or strong when she felt fragile. He loved her for who she actually was, including her struggles. Embrace vulnerability as a strength in dating by being open about your fears, limitations, and desires. In your 60s, let go of the pressure to perform or be perfect and focus on being authentic. Share your true self, whether you're feeling tired, emotional, or needing space. because emotional honesty fosters deeper connections. When you're real, you invite real love, and that's where true intimacy begins. This vulnerability advantage becomes even more powerful when combined with our third truth, which reveals why the pressure to perform that exhausted you in younger relationships simply doesn't exist anymore.
Truth number 3, the freedom from performance. Before we dive into this next truth, let me connect what we've discovered so far. We've learned that attraction after 60 is based on authenticity rather than youth, and that vulnerability becomes a strength rather than a weakness. But there's something even more liberating about senior dating that most people don't realize. The performance pressure that makes younger dating so exhausting simply doesn't exist when you're dating after 60, because you've learned to value authenticity over impression management. Here's how this truth builds on our previous insights. Remember how attraction shifts from physical perfection to character depth? And how vulnerability becomes a strength rather than a weakness? Well, this creates an environment where you can simply be yourself without constantly worrying about saying the right thing, wearing the right clothes, or projecting the right image. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does." By the time you reach 60, you've learned this lesson through decades of experience. You've discovered that trying to be someone you're not is not only exhausting, but ultimately ineffective at creating lasting connections. This freedom from performance creates several advantages that younger daters simply don't have. You can be honest about your preferences without worrying about being judged. You can express your needs without fear of seeming demanding. You can set boundaries without anxiety about being rejected. Research from the American Psychological Association supports this insight. Studies show that people over 60 report significantly lower impression management anxiety in social situations, including dating. They're more likely to express authentic opinions, set clear boundaries, and prioritize compatibility over chemistry. The real beauty of this freedom? It allows you to assess compatibility much more quickly and accurately. When you're no longer performing, you can instantly tell if someone appreciates the real you. And equally, when they're not performing, you can quickly see whether you genuinely enjoy their company. If this insight resonates with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. How has the freedom from performance changed the way you approach dating or relationships? And don't forget to save this video so you can come back and reflect on these powerful truths whenever you need a reminder of the freedom and authenticity that come with love after 60. This freedom from performance, combined with the wisdom that comes from life experience, leads us to our fourth truth about how you can invest your energy much more strategically than younger daters.
Truth number 4. The wisdom of selective investment. I learned something that transformed my approach to senior dating. In my 20s, I would date each woman for about 6 months to get to know her and make a decision. Now I know within 3 dates whether someone is worth my time. Life's too short to waste on people who don't appreciate what I offer. Your life experience has given you the ability to quickly assess compatibility and invest your energy only in relationships with genuine potential, making you more efficient at finding love than younger people who lack this discrimination. Confucius taught, "By 3 methods we may learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is noblest. Second, by imitation, which is easiest. And third, by experience, which is the bitterest. By the time you're dating after 60, you've learned through all three methods, but especially through experience, the bitter teacher that provides the most valuable lessons. My story illustrates this wisdom perfectly. In my first marriage, I ignored red flags for years, hoping things would improve. I stayed in incompatible relationships because I was afraid of being alone. I invested months or years in people who were fundamentally wrong for me because I lacked the experience to recognize the patterns. Now, at 64, I has developed what I calls compatibility radar. I can quickly identify someone who shares my values, appreciates my communication style, and complements my lifestyle. More importantly, I can spot incompatibility early and end things kindly before either person becomes too invested. Recently, on my first date with Eleanor, I knew within 2 hours that she was someone special. She listened without trying to fix my problems. She asked thoughtful questions about my experiences. She was comfortable with silence. She had that rare quality of being fully present in conversation. I didn't need 6 months to figure out that this was a woman worth knowing better. When you're young, you might be attracted to excitement, mystery, or potential. When you're older, you're drawn to reliability, authenticity, and proven character. This wisdom extends beyond just partner selection. It affects how you approach dating itself. You don't waste time on elaborate courtship rituals that don't serve you. You don't play games designed to create artificial scarcity. You don't tolerate behavior you know from experience leads to problems. This strategic approach to emotional investment, combined with our final truth about the biology of mature love, creates conditions for romance after 60 that are actually superior to younger relationships. Let's take a close truth number 5. The biology of mature love. As we age, the way our bodies respond to love and attraction changes, and science has a lot to say about it. The biology of mature love is not just about the chemicals that drive youthful passion. It's about how our brains and bodies evolve to create deeper, more sustainable connections as we grow older. In our younger years, love is often driven by hormones like dopamine and adrenaline, creating that rush of excitement and passion. But as we enter our 60s and beyond, our bodies begin to shift focus. Instead of fleeting infatuation, love becomes more rooted in connection, empathy, and shared experiences. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, becomes more central to mature love, helping us form stronger emotional bonds with our partners. This hormone is released during touch, conversation, and shared intimacy, creating a deep sense of connection and trust. What's fascinating about the biology of love after 60 is that our brains actually become better at processing emotions and managing stress. Research from the Kinsey Institute shows that people over 60 who are in loving relationships report higher levels of sexual satisfaction than younger people, primarily because intimacy is based on emotional connection rather than performance pressure. In a way, mature love is less about the spark and more about a consistent, nurturing flame. It's about finding joy in the quiet moments,
like sharing a cup of coffee, holding hands, or simply being present with each other. Over time, the connection deepens, becoming more intertwined with who you are as individuals, making love in your senior years incredibly fulfilling, not in spite of your age, but because of it. But this isn't just about physical intimacy. It's about the entire spectrum of connection that becomes possible when you're not constantly performing, competing, or trying to prove yourself. You can be completely present with someone in ways that younger people, distracted by ambition and insecurity, often can't manage. Dr. Helen Fisher's research on love and attachment shows that people over 60 who are in loving relationships experience sustained levels of bonding hormones like oxytocin and vasopressin that create deep feelings of attachment and contentment. These aren't the roller coaster emotions of young love, they're the steady, satisfying emotions of mature love. The practical implication is incredibly encouraging. Those concerns about physical aging that make you feel too old for love, they're often irrelevant to the actual experience of mature intimacy. The self-consciousness about body changes that might make you avoid dating, it dissolves when you connect with someone who values you for who you are rather than how you look. This biological reality of mature love, combined with all the psychological advantages we've discussed, creates the possibility for romance after 60 that is not only different from younger love, but actually superior in many ways.
Conclusion. So here we are. 5 surprising truths that completely transform how we think about dating after 60. The attraction paradigm shift from performance to authenticity. The vulnerability advantage that creates deeper connection. The freedom from performance that allows genuine intimacy. The wisdom of selective investment that makes love more efficient, and the biology of mature love that enhances rather than diminishes satisfaction. Maya Angelou wrote, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." If you've been telling yourself that you're too old for love, you're carrying an untold story. The story of the deep, authentic, meaningful connection that's still possible for you. If you're single and have been hesitating to pursue love because of your age, recognize that you have advantages that younger people don't possess. If you're already dating in your 60s but struggling with doubt, remember that you're not competing with 25-year-olds, you're offering something they can't. I'd really appreciate when you like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe to the channel for more insights on love after 60. Let's embrace the powerful connection that still awaits. Because the truth about love at any age needs to be shared widely in a culture that often dismisses the romantic possibilities of our later years. Thank you, and see you again.